So I've mentioned to you before that we have coyotes out where I live, and they can be kind of dangerous, and they've been getting kind of bold. So during my mom's birthday, she and my stepdad were telling us a story about how they saw 2 coyotes in the morning out on their property, like very, very close to where they were in the bathroom. So that kind of clued me in that they've gotten a little more bold than normal, and that's not super great. Not super thrilled about that. As many of you also may know, if you've been in Georgia, Georgia is currently going through a big freeze. In fact, actually, basically every place north of us is. A giant Arctic wind went through, and we went from being like 85 to 90 degrees outside to being, you know, freezing immediately. And yeah, that was fun. Do you want to hear funny? Sure, Sean. That was fun information. We hadn't insulated our pipes completely yet. We had to get our pipes repaired last year with PEX piping. So we figured that we would go ahead and run to Home Depot, get what we needed in order to insulate our pipes on the way home and insulate all those. So I went under the house, and Saki said that she could not take care of any more of the piping under the house than what we were already doing because she couldn't really contort her body in the ways needed to maneuver under the crawl space. And I said, okay, fair enough. How about we split the labor then? You go down to the well, take care of the well. I will take care of the rest of everything in here, and that'll be fine. It's not a whole lot of insulation to do, but between the two of us, we should be able to get it done pretty quickly. And then an incident occurred. While I was under the house, I heard gunshot. And bear in mind, here in Georgia, especially where I live, you hear gunshots, not infrequently. It's not really something to freak out about when it happens. You just kind of accept that it's a thing that you're gonna hear, right? People don't really run out of their beds for gunshots. But it was 9 o'clock at night, which is an irregular time to hear gunshot. So I finished up the installation I was working on, went inside my house, grabbed my 9mm and grabbed a flashlight, and well, the flashlight was my phone. It's just all I had because Saki had our larger flashlight down by the well. And so I go down to where the well is, and I see that my stepdad is there, which is weird because he goes to sleep at like 7 p.m. That's not a place he normally is. So he left his property, went over to our property, and was inspecting what was going on. And I saw him having his floodlight trained on the woods, which is, you know, kind of indicative of what might have happened. So I asked Saki what's going on. I heard the gunshot. I brought my gun too, just in case. And she says there was a coyote about 25 feet from her. Very, very close. Now, normally coyotes, they don't get super bold. They're not the kind of creatures that are gonna, try to harm you, but if they have you surrounded as a pack, they have no problem causing bodily harm to people. So, she shot at the coyote in order to scare it away, basically. And what we found is that there was not one coyote that was around here. They are pack animals. When we used our lights and looked into the woods, there were 3 coyotes. I'm assuming the one that she shot at, and then 2 that were further away that we could only really see because they have, their eyes glint a little bit. And I doubt it was deer because I don't think you're going to have deer that close to coyote at that point. And again, they're pack animals. They move around in packs. So Saki's already not feeling super great because we've got coyotes and she had to fire a gun without ear protection, and she has a 40 caliber. 40 calibers, those are loud. They're loud as fucking shit. So I say, hey, freeze is coming. Have you finished the installation yet so we can get out of here? She goes, no, I haven't yet. Okay. Have you finished installing the light bulb? Because if any of you have worked with wells before, wells usually have a spot for a light bulb where you put an incandescent, not LED, an incandescent light bulb to generate just enough heat so that the water does not freeze when it pops up into your well. When water comes up through your well, there is a moment where it goes through the motor before it goes back underground where there's insulation. And if the water freezes in that moment, then your motor is running dry and your water is frozen and everything's basically fucked. Sakura says, that's why the incandescent bulb. Yes. You need an incandescent light bulb in order to protect your water from freezing when you are on a well system. And now I'm going to show you the incandescent bulb. You guys get to see what the light bulb looked like. So there is a phenomenon in electrical systems called an arc flash. And an arc flash happens when current is running far too strong through something. Usually, an arc flash occurs in an actual breaker panel. But today, the arc flash did not occur in the breaker panel. Turns out, our electrical system down there was bypassed at some point. So an arc flash occurred here. It flamethrowered. It literally flamethrowered at Saki, making the stereotypical electrical sound. You can see her singed fingerprint on the actual light bulb. Now, Saki did not get injured. Surprisingly, she received no injuries during this. I've looked at injuries from arc flash light bulbs doing this kind of shit, and usually people end up with like severe burns and severe damage. But no, it happened and she basically jumped and fell back. So there was just a bulb sitting there in the socket firing flames out until the bottom melted, and I guess that ended the connection and the light bulb fell out. So now we had Saki dealing with a potential near-death experience because coyotes were around her, firing her gun, not feeling super great in the ear because she fired a, live ammunition right next to her ears without ear protection, which you wouldn't want ear protection going down there anyway because you're dealing with, animals in the woods. You want to be able to hear that shit. And then the flamethrower bit. So my stepdad sees the flamethrower bit, has no idea what the fuck is going on, and we end up getting Saki up and she tries to finish the insulation. She can't finish the insulation. That's just not a thing she was able to do. So I'm like, hey, hun, you're on gun duty. Grab your light, grab your gun, and make sure that no coyotes come close to us. I'm going to finish putting the insulation in, and I'm not going to be touching that light bulb socket at all. So we grabbed the melted light bulb, took that up to our house after I finished the insulation, and I decided to take the next day off of work. And then that kind of cascaded into having 2 days off of work together because Saki was not feeling well and is still not feeling horribly great. But here we are. So yeah, that's what happened recently. I do not know what curse I have or what curse this house has, but it's just been something. It's been something constantly, and it's never ending, and I do not know what is going on, but this is just what it's like to live here. Yay! Sean Helfin says, you might want to have her visit the doctor. Sean, I appreciate that. With what money? I appreciate that suggestion. Counterpoint. With what money? And we would basically be going and saying, hey, an event happened a little while ago. Nobody is feeling any negative effects. Everybody is feeling fine, but we wanted to get checked in. Thank you. We'll spend the equivalent of a video game console in money to have a doctor say that we're okay. Like, I'm sorry, but I live in America, so whenever somebody says, oh, you should just get the doctor to check that out. How? No, I don't have that luxury. I'm sorry. Habit the Wendigo says, in fairness, it's probably lucky that she was uninjured physically. Exactly. We are very, very lucky, and we are just running with that luck right now. Axo says, Canada's right there, and then I have to afford being able to drive up to Canada, and then make a case that we just need to go to a hospital visit once. Anyway, that's where I've been, and that's what's happened recently. I have to go let a dumb cat in. Hey, you made it to the end. I want to give an extra thanks to the patrons who allow me to do this full time. I want to thank Aaron Rail, Astral, Britzkrieg, Jemshin, Poundini, Red Joker, Victoria, Jonas, Craig, Tarika, Fireshard, Smiling GM, John, Dren Hadamada, Creeper, Sagitt, I'm not saying that last part, Valis of Seraph, Autumn and Angel, Rooster Rachel, and Fire Panda, who are all my $20 and up patrons.